Hey guys, welcome to today's video. We are here for a video I haven't even filmed yet. I am here to film the intro because I have my makeup done. I wanted you to see my face, but I haven't actually filmed the meat and potatoes of the video yet. We're here to do a declutter. I need to clean out my makeup. I have gotten into the mindset of wanting to purchase less, wanting to own less, wanting to really be able to love and use my makeup up. I know my best friend Smags that I talk about here on YouTube, she will tell me oh, I finished a lipstick, oh, I finished this blush, oh, I finished this, oh, I finished that, and I'm like, I finished nothing because I had too much. So I decided to go through my collection. It's gonna be like a big daddy all-in-one. I'm not going through it in different categories, but I decided to go through my collection to pull out items that I feel like no longer serve me. Not that I don't love them, not that I don't enjoy them, not that I haven't loved them for years, but I'm not currently using them in my collection. So I wanna share the love. I am going to donate these items to family and friends that I know in my personal life, and some of them are really old and need to just be thrown away. So that is what we are here to do. Like I said, I haven't filmed it yet. Don't know when I'm filming it, but wanted to get the intro up. So I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna show you what we're working with. We are going to just dig in. I will let you know what I am getting rid of and why I'm getting rid of it. And that's gonna be it. So if you are new here, hello and welcome. My name is Kelly and I love all things makeup and beauty. I love talking, I love makeup, I love talking about makeup. So if you like to chat about makeup too, I would love to have you subscribe and be part of the K-Bella fam. Why don't we go ahead and jump into this declutter. Okay, so here it is. Here are all of the things that I collected around my makeup room in my collection that I have decided I am okay with decluttering. Some of it is going to go to a new home. Some of it is probably going to have to be pitched. I just have a little smorgasbord of things, of just lots of things. So let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so I think I'll start by just talking about some of the palettes that I'm gonna declutter. I have this one right here. This is from Nomad Cosmetics. It's the Paradise Islands palette. This one was sent to me in PR, and it was sent to me as part of the Starfish program that they have. It was my very first palette, the very first time I tried Nomad Cosmetics, and I thought the shadows were great. They performed beautifully, the shimmers were beautiful, the mattes were beautiful. The problem is this just isn't my color story, and I told myself, you know what, I'm gonna hold on to it because it's sentimental, and what if I wanna dip into some of these shades, and I just haven't used it. And after watching some videos from Hannah Louise Poston, she made a comment when she was getting rid of stuff in some of her declutters, and she mentioned that when she declutters a product, it doesn't mean she wasn't thankful for it, and it doesn't mean that the person who gave it to her is not special, but it just simply is not getting loved and used in her collection. So I thought a better way to honor this palette is to gift it to someone who would use it. So that's what I'm gonna do. Another palette that was a gift is this one right here. It's from Dominique Cosmetics. It's the Latte 2 palette. It does still have the little protective cover on it. We'll just go ahead and take that off for now. So this was a gift from my friend Smags, and I had the Latte 1. I have the Latte 1, and I love it. It's a beautiful neutral palette. So she got me the Latte 2, and I still love the quality of this. I still think it's amazing. I think the shadows perform beautifully. I just find myself not reaching for it. I'm just more apt to reach for my Natasha Denona or some of my Sigma palettes that I have, or even the original Latte palette. So I thought that I would gift this to someone who could get some use out of it. Another palette I never thought I would see the day. I never thought I would see the day. It's my Natasha Denona Glam palette. So I love this palette. I still love it. I still love this palette. But here's the thing with the Latte palette. But here's the thing with the Glam palette. I'm not reaching for this one compared to my Natasha Denona Retro palette or the My Dream palette or even some of the other palettes in my collection. I got so much good use out of this. The quality is beyond amazing. I love the Natasha Denona formula. This eyeshadow palette is amazing. And you know, when I was thinking about doing this declutter, I thought to myself, well, what if I want to do a Natasha Denona ranking? I can still rank this palette even if I don't have it. I used it for years. I know the quality. I know my preference on the color story. I feel like I can still talk about this palette. I can talk about the bronze palette. Both of those have left my collection. I can talk about the Metropolis palette. That one left my collection. I can still talk about them and insert pictures, and it doesn't have to be in my physical collection. When I've used it, I've gotten looks out of it. I have my thoughts on this palette. And the other thing I thought, and Samantha March mentioned this in one of her videos, she said that she was offering recommendations and someone was like, well, you decluttered it, so you must not like it. No, but I can still like it. I can still think that it's a beautiful color story, but it's just not getting used in my collection. And I really want to downsize, and I really want to have palettes in my collection that I'm using and getting use out of. And because it's just sitting there, I mean, this was $65 when I purchased it. Like, I want someone who is going to get use out of it to have it. So we are going to rehome that one. I also have this palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This was the Nouveau palette. I picked this one up. Okay, you can bend it backwards, but mine is pretty crisp. So I picked this up when it was new. I originally was not going to. I saw videos on it. I thought, you know what? I do actually love the color story. I tried it. I thought it performed great. I did enjoy the color story, but I honestly have not used it since. I never reached for this off camera, and so that tells me that I just need to send it off to a new home. We have another palette over here. This was the Lunar Beauty 12 Days of Lunar. This was the holiday advent calendar that Manny came out with last year, and I loved this palette. I love the quality of it. It does have a mirror in there. Beautiful, beautiful shades. I got some great use out of it, but honestly, like, I would love to keep this shade, okay? I really would, because it's beautiful, it's stunning, it's kind of like holographic and possibly a duochrome. I love the formula of Lunar Beauty. I think they are really some beautiful formulas. They're nice and creamy and blendable, and the shimmers are amazing, and they have specks of glitter without being chunky, and I just love it. But at the end of the day, I have not used this since using it in that holiday look, and I would reach for my Nude Prism over this. I would reach for the Full Fantasy over this. So I want someone else to be able to use this palette. There are some beautiful neutral shades that I feel like I already have in my collection time and time again, and I don't want this to go to waste, so I'm going to rehome it. I also have this Sigma Ambiance palette. You know, I have tried more from Sigma now that I am affiliated with them. I do have a code. KBella will save you, I think it's just KBella, not KBella 10. It'll be listed down below, but it'll save you 10%. Anyway, I have gotten some PR from Sigma over the years. I purchased the Ambient palette myself, and I just have Sigma palettes that I love more. I love the Sigma Angela Bright palette. I love the dessert minis that they came out with, the quads. I love the tiramisu. I love the green apple. Like, I'm reaching for those over the Ambiance palette. This one, you have a mixture of very pigmented shimmers mixed with toppers, and I don't love the toppers. So although this is a color story that I love, I feel like someone else could love this and get some use out of it. So I'm going to put the little plastic back in here and try not to blind y'all with the mirror, and I am going to rehome that one. This palette is no longer available. It was from BH Cosmetics, the Amore in Amalfi. I loved this color story. I thought the formula was great. It was sentimental. The artwork is gorgeous, but it was sentimental because I've been to the Amalfi Coast with my husband. And so again, I was hesitating. Have I used this since filming my video? Not really, maybe a handful of times, but not religiously. I'm not reaching for it time and time again. And so I was holding on to it because it was reminding me of Italy. I didn't even get this in Italy. But you know what? I have pictures of that time. I have memories of that time. I have vlogs of that time. So I am going to go ahead and let this one go. I feel like I have a friend who could get some good use out of that one. And in the same breath, the Limoncello palette by ColourPop. This was another palette that I held on to. The quality is great. You do get a nice mirror in here. The packaging is beautiful. Again, it reminded me of the Amalfi Coast, just with the fun names, and I thought the packaging was beautiful. But this is a beautiful palette. I just have not reached for it, and I don't just want to keep it in my collection because it's beautiful. I was displaying it for a while, but when I went to do this declutter, I pulled it out of a drawer. So someone else needs to love this one because it's fantastic. An eyeshadow palette that needs to go in the trash is this one. It is the ABH Master Palette by Mario. I got some good use out of this one. I created several looks with it. I hit pan in some of the shadows here, and I was holding on to this because it was limited edition and I loved that Bronx shade, but really it's old. I'm never reaching for it. I cannot rehome it because it is so old, so sadly this guy is just going to make it in the trash. You know what? I didn't even realized this one was in here. This is my Dominique Latte palette, the original, and part of me, oh, it doesn't bend all the way back. Okay, part of me is like, Kelly, hold on to it because I really love this macchiato shade. I really love this shade right here. These shimmers are beautiful. But you know what? Again, I'm not reaching for this. I'm not reaching for this. I finally bit the bullet and purchased it, and I loved it, and I loved it, and I loved it. But you know what? Someone else can love it. Its time has come. I really want to narrow my collection down, and there are still new eyeshadow palettes coming out all of the time that I want to try, so I'm going to rehome this. I also really loved and recommended the ColourPop That's Taupe palette for so long. I do still think it's a beautiful formula. I love the cool toned color story. It's just absolutely gorgeous, and I really used the heck out of this, y'all. Like, I used the heck out of it, but I have not reached for it in a long time, so we're going to rehome that one. I guess I can stop saying that. I guess I can stop saying we're going to rehome it because that's obviously what's happening. So Melt Cosmetics, the brunette palette. You know what? I didn't love this one. The color story is totally me, but I just didn't really love the formula and I never reached for it. So I am, you know, I've been telling myself I need to try it, but I don't. I can go ahead and pass that one along. There are some more eyeshadow palettes in here. Another one that just needs to be tossed, honestly, is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. I've had this one for so long, literally years and years. Got some good use out of it, really loved it, but it's just not a favorite of mine anymore, so that one needs to go in the trash. Another one that probably needs to go in the trash is the Urban Decay Born to Run. They don't even make this one anymore. You know, the formula was just kind of blah to me. I had a lot of fallout with it. I had a nice wide variety and I did get some use out of it, but I just have not reached for it in forever, and I was holding on to it for the packaging because I love to travel. It's so heavy and weighty, but at the same time, I don't want to be holding on to things for the packaging. So that one is going to go as well. We have some more eyeshadows here. I'm going to reach all the way over here to this Wayne Goss palette. This is a new palette. This one is going to go to a new home. It's not going to go in the trash if I can open it. I wanted to try Wayne Goss. My friend Kelsey Brianna J, loves Wayne Goss. So I purchased this palette. I thought the color story was fun, but then I lost it and I didn't realize it. It was at another place in my house. My daughter had been playing with it and moved it, and I didn't even realize it until I found it again. So that just tells me it needs to go somewhere where it's going to be loved heavily. I also am going to get rid of this pricey Charlotte Tilbury. This one is the Rebel Lights, or Rebel Lights. It is just these 4 little shimmer shades, these greens. Samantha March recommended this years and years ago. I picked it up with a gift card and I love it. I mean, I love it. I just never reach for it. So maybe someone else will reach for it. Another palette that I loved and loved and loved is this NARS Climax palette. I did get some good use out of this one, but I'm just not reaching for it on a daily basis. It looks hardly touched. It was great quality. It was fun and festive. There are some pops of color, but also some neutral shades, and I loved talking about this during the holiday time, but again, I can talk about this and reference this during the holiday time and still not have it in my collection because I'm not using it. So we are going to get rid of that one. I also went back and forth. I went back and forth on the Ofra Samantha March Life's a Draft because I really enjoyed the face shades, particularly the highlighter. And I'm just going to tell you right now, this is not the Dream Chaser highlighter. I took the Pillow Talk highlighter out of the trio, the Feel in Myself highlighter trio, and I put the Feel in Myself highlighter trio in Pillow Talk in here, and I took Dream Chaser out because I was keeping this entire palette for Dream Chaser. The bronzer is a little bit too warm toned for me. I wasn't really reaching for the blush, and I wasn't a huge fan of the Ofra eyeshadow formula, so I am going to go ahead and rehome that one, but keep the highlighter. Then I have single shadows here. I have some single shadows, and you know what? I thought about keeping some of these Cleonas, and I almost pulled them out, but I never use them. It's a mixture of mostly Makeup Geek. There's a MAC over here. There may be an ABH in here, mostly Makeup Geek. And then these Cleona shimmers. But I do have a girlfriend that I know who has single shadows, and she may love that. So I'm going to see if she wants to add that to her collection. And then I also have this Makeup Geek compact filled with some more of her newer shades, but I just don't reach for singles. So again, I want to see if someone else will take those off of my hands. Then I have some face products. You know what? There is one more palette here. This one is untouched, y'all. This one is untouched. I purchased it in 2023, and I told myself I was going to use it. It's the Earthy palette from Sigma. I bought this myself, but you know what? As beautiful as this is, I want to give it to someone who is going to use it brand new, untouched, because I like the quads. I was going to say better, but not even better because I haven't tried this, and it's my color story, but I've been reaching for the quads over this, so we're going to pass that along. This I was keeping because my husband bought it for me. It was the Danger Zone quad, and he got it for me when he went to New York, and I tried it, and I just did not like the formula. I didn't like the quality of it. I thought that it was not very good quality, and so I'm ready to get rid of it now. I think those are all of the eyeshadows. We might find a few here and there. I have this face palette. This is from Adept Cosmetics. It is the Gianna face palette. I did purchase this one, and then my friend Heather Austin actually gave me another one of these that I passed along to Smags. I like the bronzer, but I don't really ever use the highlighters. They're just not my favorite, and it's just kind of sat in my collection, so I bet I can find someone who will want to use that. I do have a couple blushes. ColourPop gave me these blushes when I went to Charleston for the Creators and Friends trip. One is in No Rules and the other is in Sassy Pants, and I have not used them since the Charleston trip, so gonna pass those along. I also got this on the Charleston trip from Sigma. It is the cream blush in Cor de Rosa. I got rid of all of the other cream blushes, and I've just been holding on to this one, but I never use it, so we are going to give that to someone who will use it. On that same trip, I did get this highlighter in the shade Minted. Is that what it says? Minted. And I might have swatched it but never used it, so we are going to get rid of that. I did get this scent from ColourPop as well. They asked if I wanted to try any other things. This is their bronzer in Get Shady. It's the Super Shock bronzer, and I do not like the Super Shock formula in the eyeshadows. I find them difficult to use, and I find this bronzer difficult to use as well. I really have to dig into it to get any product, and so for that reason I find myself not using it. So we're going to go ahead and pass that along. I do have two MAC blushes that I purchased myself. This one right here is in Melba. I knew that, but I couldn't think of it. And then this one is Mocha. And I've had them for so long. I've used them. I've loved them. But I'm just not reaching for my MAC blushes over other blushes. And again, I'm trying to downsize so that I can use what I have. So I bet that I can find someone who will use and love those. I did go out and purchase this Rockateur blush because I had decluttered mine and I wanted to have it back in my collection, and then I have not used it since. This does no longer exist, but seeing that I've had it for months and months and have not used it, it needs to not exist in my collection. Also, I am going to finally get rid of this Hourglass bronzer. This is in the Luminous Bronze Light, the ambient lighting bronzer. I've had this since before I had children, so that just needs to go. I never use it anymore. I went back and forth on this one because I do love it, but I just don't reach for it all of the time. And it is the Melt Cosmetics blush. This is the Raw Honey Digital Duo, Digital Dust. How do you say it? whatever. You know what I mean? It's the blush. And I used it a ton when I first got it, and I haven't used it since. I reach for it in the cooler months, but I have kind of been reaching for the same blushes, and I just really want to hit pan in blush, y'all. Like, I want to hit pan in a blush, but I have too many blushes to do that. This is the Benefit Peach and Blush. This was actually given to me by my friend Angie. She sent it to me, and I have not used it since she sent it to me before we went to Charleston, so I am going to re-gift that. I do have this Bobbi Brown highlighter. This is in Pink Glow that I purchased myself, and I'm just not a huge fan of it, so I'm not reaching for it. I want to see if somebody else will get some love out of it. I did get this unearthly highlighter in Mirage when I went on the Charleston trip. I got 4 highlighters. I kept Mirage and another one, but I typically go for a highlighter that is not quite so colored or glittery. This is Mirage. It's kind of like a champagne-y type of shade. I've worn it a couple times, but I kept Spellbound, I think. So I'm going to see if there is someone else in my life who wants to give Mirage some love. Then I have a Makeup Geek. Makeup Geek is no longer around. Makeup Geek Lit. I have not worn this in years, but I kept it because Makeup Geek is no longer around. But that one needs to go. This one is the Cheek to Chic. Cheek to Chic. This is the one that Nicole Guerrero raved about from Charlotte Tilbury. I've had this one for a really long time, and I like Pillow Talk more. So I'm going to keep Pillow Talk that Smegs got me and get rid of that one. I also have this Essence blush. This is a great blush, by the way. It's very affordable. This is in the shade 10 Befitting. This is a very affordable blush. It has great pigment. It's awesome quality, but the thing is, I hold on to it because it's drugstore, and I never use it. I would reach for my Wanderlust blush in Seychelles over this one. So I'm going to see if there's someone in my life who wants that. This one was sad. Becca is no longer around. This is in Flower Child. And I purchased this blush when they were going under, and I've used it a couple times. It has great pigment. I wanted to have one of their blushes because I had never tried it, but I really am not reaching for this over some of my other blushes. So again, trying to downsize. I bet someone else will love that one. I do have this little single eyeshadow from MAC. This is in the shade Woodwinked, I think. I got it as a back to MAC, and it's like a one and done type of shade, but I don't reach for singles. So that is not getting used in my collection. I keep trying to love the Auric products. This is the Auric Entice Smoke Reflect, and I keep trying to love this concept of going in with a cream and then putting, oh my gosh, I can't even get this off, and then putting a topper on top, but I just never reach for the creams. I am just not a cream fan. So I think there is probably someone out there who will love, oh my gosh, who will love this, and it's just not me. So passing that along. I do have a couple powders here. Both were sent to me. This is the Valencia Very Light powder from Juvia's Place. It's a powder foundation. I'm going to see if Smegs wants that. And then a ColourPop translucent setting powder. I just already have some powders in my collection. Again, I'm going to see if Smegs wants that one. I do have this Undefined Beauty R&R cleanser. I got this on the Creators and Friends trip. I have cleansers that I'm using already, so I'm going to see if Smegs wants that one. I have a mascara. This is the Bare Minerals Maximist Mascara. I have not even opened it, brand spanking new. This one is an Alter Ego Matte Liquid Lipstick in the shade Jealousy. Unopened, I am going to pass that along. I do have a setting spray. This is from Revolution. It's the Infinity mattifying setting spray. I have dry skin. I look for hydration, so I'm going to see if somebody else wants that. I am also going to see if I have a friend who wants this NARS concealer. Molly from Makeup Molly sent this to me, and it's great for spot concealing, but I don't like this one underneath my eyes, so I'm going to see if somebody else wants that one. Another eye product, this is, I purchased this myself from Laura Mercier in Moonlight. It's like a one and done type of shadow. I got it a while ago, and I thought this will be great when I'm busy just to kind of put all over my eyes, and I never reach for it. So I need to stop buying those. I keep buying them. I need to stop buying them. This is, oh, a lip product. I still have some more things. What's this? A Feather Effect Brow Pen in light brown. Sorry if I'm shaking a little bit, y'all. I'm so hungry and I'm going to eat after this. But a brow pen. I'm not going to use this, so I'm going to put it to the side. This needs to go in the trash. It's old and I've used it a ton. It's the Brow Blade from Urban Decay. I did really enjoy it, but it is time for that one to go elsewhere. This is an eyeshadow base from Alter Ego, and I don't think I've ever used it, so going to rehome that. I'm trying to get down to just all lip products. I know Smags has this already. It's the Glowgasm Beauty Light Wand. It's the blush in Peachgasm, and I know she has it already, so I am going to rehome that. Then I think we just have, nope, another concealer. Another concealer. This is from Charlotte Tilbury. It's a little sample size. Never used it. Just going to pass that along. Now are we just down to lip products? No, one more concealer from ColourPop. Very, very light. Too light for me. Now I think we're just down to lip products. Okay, so this is the Sigma Lip Mask. I have tried this several times, and every time I try and use it, it stings my lips a little bit. So I think there's maybe an ingredient in here that does not agree with me. I don't even think this is supposed to be plumping, but it's almost like an uncomfortable plumping feel. And nobody else that I've talked to has that issue. So the only thing I can think of, because I've tried a few of these, the only thing I can think of is that I have an allergy to an ingredient in there. So I am going to pass that along. Now I am putting all of my lip products separately because I cannot just gift them to just anybody. I have to make sure they're going to someone who is not going to mind that I have tried the majority of these. So never tried this one, so this one can honestly go wherever. It's the Can You Even Luxe Velvet Lipstick from ColourPop. I've had that since we went to Charleston, never used it. I've also had this Unearthly lipstick in Kaylina that I've never tried. It's a very, very deep nude, so going to rehome that one. I also have this little mini. This is in Pillow Talk, I think, and I was like, ooh, I'll use that, right? But no, I've never even touched it, so that can go to someone else because I have Very Victoria that I love. This little mini is in the shade Pasadena. Never tried that. That can go to someone else. This one needs to go in the trash. This is the Mariah Carey McIzzle collab from years ago, like well before I had children, and I saved it for the packaging, but that actually needs to go in the garbage. I may have swatched this one, the ColourPop Fresh Kiss Lip Cream in Strike a Pose. I may have swatched that one. Also, this Makeup by Mario, I wore this when I had COVID. It's in Muted Mauve. I'm going to throw that in the trash. I don't even feel comfortable gifting that to someone. This is the Huda Beauty liquid lipstick in the shade Wifey. I did really love it, but this one I just don't reach for. I just don't reach for it, and I got it for my birthday maybe when I was pregnant, so it's really not that old, but it already smells like it's going bad a little bit, so I think that one needs to be pitched. Okay, BK Beauty. I love BK Beauty. K Bella 10 will save you 10%. I love their lipstick formula, okay? I do. I love it, and that's partly why I wanted to hold on to all of these. These are some of their original shades and their new shade in Beauty, but the thing is, I want to use my products and I want to use them up. And at first I was hoarding all of my BK Beauty lipsticks because I really want to support the brand because I love Lisa J and the team so much. They're so kind to me. They've been so good to me. But I decided I can keep the ones that I use all of the time, and then I can share these with my friends, and if they love them, they can go out and purchase more. So that is what I'm going to do. These need to go in the trash. It was the Desi and Katie Friendcation collab, Dose of Colors, their Friendcation palette and their liquid lipsticks. Those need to go in the trash. I do not like this one. I already thought I decluttered it and I still have it. It's a beautiful color and beautiful packaging, but it drags on the lips. So that needs to go. I do not love this. It's the Huda Beauty Silk Balm in the shade Blush. I don't need a ton of lip glosses. I don't wear them, so we're going to pass that along. This is the ColourPop Fresh Kiss Lip Cream in BB Spice. I almost considered keeping this because, you know what? I think I am going to keep it. I'm going to keep that one because I don't have any of their other lip products. I am going to declutter this one in Koa. It's just a lip gloss that I will not use. I am going to throw this one in the trash because it's really old in Millie and it's starting to turn colors, so it's time for that one to go. I'm going to throw this in the trash. It's a YSL lipstick, very expensive, in the shade 10. I've had this for many, many moons. Many, many moons. Kept it because of the packaging. Dose of Colors Stone. I have kept this in my collection. It's still good, but I just never reach for it, so that's gonna go. A Natasha Denona lipstick. Beatrice and Noah are very similar, and so I've decided to keep Beatrice and get rid of Noah and see if there's someone else who wants Noah. So I'm going to get rid of that one. I was holding on to Muted from Juvia's Place, but I've never even tried it. My friend Emily from Emily's Makeup Bag sent this to me, and I was like, what a beautiful nude, and then I've never even tried it, so why am I keeping it, right? This one we decided to keep. Let me move you somewhere else. Okay, so this is what I'm getting rid of in some organized piles, right? So that bag I am going to let some of my friends pick through, see what they want. I have a pile for Smags that I want to offer her first before I let other people pick. These will also, personal friends will be going through to look through that. This is my trash pile, and then this is a pile that I am going to give to the church that I go to because they do a Project Prom. You may remember I talked about doing makeup for girls for prom, and I feel like these things can be used for Project Prom. So this is everything I'm getting rid of. It's a lot. It's a lot. So I feel good about it. I just want to be using what I have in my collection. I want to hit pan on stuff. I want to use stuff up. And if I have too much, I just can't. So hopefully you enjoyed this declutter. It was a little bit of everything. Please give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Otherwise, that's going to do it for this video. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. You are amazing. I love you. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're up to, what you are doing today on this beautiful, wonderful day that you are watching this video. But that's going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.